Yo, what's up, trucking fam? Thanks for joining us in the Truckers Lounge. We back at it again. This is a place, a safe space, where we give our commentary on the latest trending news in the trucking industry, talk about how it affects us, and work together along with you to develop business strategies to work within it so we can evolve in it, as well as come up with some financial tips as well. So before we get started, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share for future content. So let's talk about it. So on today's topic, we're going to be talking about PAM Transport losing $2.2 million at the last quarter of last year. Ryder acquires Cardinal, and Kodak Robotics, the company that develops driverless trucks, they have opened up a truck port in Houston. So let's talk about it, Gene. What we got going on here, man, with these people? We got to watch these people, man. We got to keep our eyes on them, man. They trying to what they say, rob Peter, kill Paul.
Rob Peter to pay Paul.
Yeah, rob Peter to pay Paul, you know. So I guess we Peter in the trucking industry is the smaller guy.
Apparently so, because we see all this news of different things going on with the mergers and companies, this company acquiring that company, this company losing money. So it's a lot going on in this transportation sector.
Yeah, and it's kind of difficult for a lot of us to understand why. Well, let me rephrase that. I'm not going to say difficult. I think it's moving too fast for a lot of us to latch on to what's going on, because I mean, think about it. Before you even wrap your mind around one thing happening, something else happens.
Comes something else, and you got to try to dissect what's going on and where did it come from? Yeah.
Right. And then when it gets to, the point of us feeling the pain behind it, so now it's like I guess you could say we're in limbo, right? We're just stuck.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like. I think everybody's kind of having a hard time trying to decide on which way to go. With the economy not being at its best, which I've heard a lot of people in the media saying the economy has rebound. I've heard that it's rebound, but it's hard for me to tell.
Yeah, because see, some of the reports I see on there, they see, like, you got to watch them when they talking about percentages.
Okay.
Because if they're talking about in comparison to last year, yeah, we are rebounding. But if you talk about in comparison pre-pandemic, no, we still in a freight recession.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed. And that's what they're not telling, because they're trying to keep people's spirits lifted up in it. But it's kind of hard to keep lifted up. I mean, like, you okay the first, I'd say from the second day to about the 28th day in each month, you okay. Or maybe the 5th day to about the 28th day, because that's when most of us got all our bills out the way. You don't really feel it again until it's time to pay bills again. And that's when you start feeling it. So it's like we didn't put ourselves to the point to where I think that we just willingly becoming numb to what's going on. We don't want to hear it, because if it ain't one thing, it's another. And I think we become numb to it. Go ahead, Gene.
Yeah, and that's what it seems like. A lot of people just kind of just at this point just rolling with the punches, I feel. Right. You don't know what to expect. Hey, everybody just, I'm trusting in God and just go from there.
Right. And you know what? And I'm glad that you said that about the trusting in God part. People don't get it misconstrued. God still wants us to put forth effort. He can't do everything. He can do everything for us, but he won't. He won't, because he didn't design this planet that way for us to be on the titty, all our existence here.
Right.
That's true. He put obstacles in our way to test us, to see how we are growing, to get around it. And this is an obstacle. that we got to get around, and if we work together, we can accomplish it. We don't have to wait on them to tell us when it's okay to come outside without a coat on. You know, we can control it. But so we're gonna talk about PAM first. PAM reported $2.2 million loss in the last quarter at a bless you at a financial year closing. That marked a 24.2% decrease in revenue as compared to last year's quarter four, from $237.6 million in 2022 to $180.2 million in 2023. It was reported by Arkansas Democrat Gazette. The president of PAM has blamed the losses on poor freight market and United Auto Workers strike, which affects several of PAM's customers. So what you think, Gene? You know,
so is he pretty much saying? Well, I mean, of course, everybody kind of suffered from the poor freight market, but is he kind of saying that they, I guess they had some contracts with auto contracts?
Yeah, that's what it sounds like to me. Hauling auto freight is big dollars, big money,
right?
And I'm pretty sure that was probably one, or not probably, but he's indicating that was one of their biggest contracts. That's what they relied on most.
Right.
You know, like I said in the last show, bigger carriers still use the load board too, but it's just to pay for diesel or to pay their drivers. They don't rely on that to pay revenue 100%. To the company. Right. You know, so they're saying that the strike hurt them, which is good news, because, you know, it shows how unity can move the needle on things.
Right, because that strike ended in November. How long did it last?
That I didn't catch. Do you see that in the article?
No, I don't. I'll check it. But yeah, that's something that they lost that much money, and that was in the fourth quarter. They lost $2 million.
That was just in the fourth quarter.
Wow.
Yeah, $2.2 million, but they still made like $180 million in that quarter. Now that could be gross revenue.
Okay. Yeah.
But like I said, you pay attention to those percentages, but they're confident that they're going to bounce back now since the strike is over. And see, that's my issue with it. And I'm talking in reference to the smaller guy like us. We out here struggling to hang on to these so-called contracts that we don't have in writing. It's just an agreement with a broker or a shipper to say we're going to give you this amount of load. We're struggling to hang on to these loads. They're coming to us, asking us to drop our rates on these contract loads. And really, you have no choice because it's nothing on the load board. So I put it like this: it's nothing on the load board in terms of not having a headache to compete so hard for the load. So you're still going to end up getting a low rate anyway in most cases, unless you're lucky enough to catch a broker in a bad position to where you can pull enough money out of them. But who wants to play that game all the time? I mean, that's a headache.
Yeah, it is. And I was looking at this. That strike lasted 6 weeks.
6 weeks.
Yeah, it lasted from September the 15th to October 30th when they called it off. To October 30th of 2023 is when they called that strike off.
And that was a very short time for them to lose
that much money.
Yeah.
So if they lost that much money, then I would like to know what's the percentage of their business is in. What percentage of their business is committed to the auto parts, and you know what I'm saying, the auto industry for PAM?
I'm pretty sure it's on the internet, and that's something we didn't think to check. So if you guys want to look that up yourself, that'll be a good keyword to put in what Eugene just stated, to put into Google to see if anything pulls up on that if you're interested in it. But if you can't find anything, we will surely know, because by them being a public traded company, we will surely know after the first quarter of this year what they're looking like in terms of what percentage of that is paying, pretty much taking care of their investors. Because like I say, it's nothing on the load board worth anything.
No, not at all.
So if they revenue picks back up, what they tell you. Yeah. So now we got, not only that, we got Cardinal is deciding to pretty much bow down what we would think. But it's not so much as that it's not what we actually think. So right now you got Ryder Logistics, the company where you rent and lease your Bob trucks from. They have acquired Cardinal Logistics. Cardinal Logistics is a company that's headquartered in Concord, North Carolina, for those who don't know. They specialize in providing dedicated fleets and professional drivers, catering to the complex route structures across distribution centers, suppliers, and stores. The company offerings extend to complementary freight brokerage services, last mile delivery, and contract logistics, primarily serving industries like consumer packaged goods, groceries, building products, automotives, industrial verticals, and etc. So Ryder plan is to fully integrate Cardinal Logistics operations, facilities, and equipment into its dedicated transportation, fleet management, supply chain, business, with the transaction anticipated to be increased in 2025.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's possible that even with Ryder acquiring Cardinal probably still will bear their own name on the side of their trucks and in their business. It's just behind the scenes, maybe.
Right.
Ryder is going to be running everything.
Yeah, for a time frame. Because usually in a lot of those acquisitions, they'll continue to run under the same banner for a while before they actually, you know what I'm saying, decide to fully integrate, as you said.
Right.
But it's interesting that the guys who started Cardinal Logistics also worked for Ryder back in the 80s and the early 90s. They were workers for Ryder, and they pretty much said that they used the same business model.
Y'all better pay attention. Go ahead.
They used the same business model that they were accustomed to at Ryder when they founded their business, Cardinal, back in 1997. And so I think that they're going to pretty much go on. And usually when you see these acquisitions or these mergers and stuff, mainly acquisitions, the executives or the owners go on to the next company as pretty much like an overseer. They still get on the board of directors to help oversee that everything runs smoothly.
Right. Basically what you're saying is they don't totally lose the company.
Correct.
And not only that, a lot of this be, these acquisitions and mergers be disguised as bailouts too. To where they're not really buying the company. They're buying the company on paper, or they're acquiring the company on paper. But it's like, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. Hey, I see you having financial trouble. We're going to invest money to pick you back up, and we're going to make a little percentage off of this. And then 7 years, maybe, whatever the law is that they go by in finance, you buy it back from us. Whether you want to buy it back from us under the same name or a different name comes in and buy it.
Yeah. And I didn't see in there where it says how much they bought it for. Did you come across that?
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
They don't have them numbers out yet.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. They have this stuff disguised, and we thinking, Cardinal sold their business to Ryder, and we never think about who the owners are. anything like
Mm,
that. We just see those headlines and we leave it as just that. But there's
right.
more to it. These are investors.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, before I get into that, let's bring up Kodak because see, all of this is about to tie in with each other.
Okay.
Other part of what I want to touch on, with our viewers, Kodak Robotics, the company that makes driverless trucks.
Mm-hmm.
They have how was it worded? They have opened up a truck port in Houston.
Yeah.
Now I just wanted to say that part there before I hit you with the last part. They opened up a truck port in Houston under it at Ryder facilities, the same company that just acquired Cardinal.
Yeah.
That's what we do here. We're connecting the dots, and I'm pretty sure you've caught on by now. Now, Kodak, we did a show on Kodak that Warren Buffett owns a share in it. Now we finding out they have involvements with Ryder and Eugene. Now, do you want me to let you take it? Because I don't want to take this part because I know you researched this part. Because I'll be glad to tell it.
Yeah. Well, see, and that's the thing, when you look at the timelines on everything. So if you go by the timeline, um, let's go back to 2023, basically. Well, actually, let's go to 2022. In August of 2022, Pilot joined Kodiak's board of directors.
Pilot?
I didn't Pilot. I
Talking
didn't know
about the company Warren Buffett just bought.
the Pilot truck centers, travel centers. They had they joined Kodiak's board of directors.
You said it was in
And
2022.
Yeah, August of 2022. They had made the plan in August of
That's bull crap
2022.
there. This man just bought 100%. Warren Buffett just bought 100% of Pilot. Just this year, he just closed on that, and they was already on the board with Kodak.
In 2022, they had made plans in August of 2022 to start the that first what was it called? It was the
It was a truck stop that was going to be designed to service driverless vehicles.
the autonomous trucks, in Villa Rica,
In Villa
Georgia.
Rica, Georgia.
But they came up with that plan when they got on their board of directors in August of 2022. Well, let's fast forward a year later, August of 2023, they got the truck stop set up.
Right.
In Villa Rica, and Kodiak has a 18,000 mile network, which we had pretty much discovered that they were running back and forth from Georgia to Dallas.
Right.
Now, Ryder has a network. Well, let me go back. We did another show where Kodiak had teamed up with Maersk. How you say it? Maersk?
Maersk, the container company, the shipping vessel. Maersk,
the shipping vessel. Maersk needed help because they had a lane that they needed help running from Houston, Texas, from their terminals in Houston, Texas, to Oklahoma City. So that's over 400 miles of running right there. Well, that's a lane that since Kodiak was already running that lane, well, here comes Ryder merging or teaming up with Kodiak to run a lane between Houston to Dallas. And they began running that lane. So now this gives Kodiak a lane to run between a Ryder facility in Houston to a Ryder facility in Dallas, back and forth. So Kodiak's lanes that they're going to have from Texas is from Houston to Dallas is one of their set routes, and also from Houston to Oklahoma City. So they running that I-35 corridor. Well, 45-35 corridor from Houston to Dallas. That's I-45. Dallas to Oklahoma City. That's I-35 straight up. And that's a busy stretch of interstate all the way, especially when you get on that Dallas area. That's a very busy stretch of interstate that they're doing the driverless trucks, but they have a human in there. Well, their goal by the end of this year, 2024, later this year, they want to introduce completely driverless trucks to run that lane because they've been running it now already since last year. So the goal is to create enough data, which we talked about this in our show with the executive vice president of OIDA, Louis Pugh, to where they are just trying to create this data to show that, hey, we have so many months or so many years of safe driving, so many thousands of miles or so many hours of safe driving logged without an accident, without a hiccup, with nothing happening, without a computer failure or glitch. And now that's going to sell the idea with all this data that, hey, we can do it by ourselves in this busy corridor. At first they was testing out these driverless trucks out west on a stretch of interstate wide open, 75 miles an hour, just stretch. There's not a lot of traffic, but this is a busy corridor. And if this is successful, it's just going to really open up the door wide open.
Yes, guinea pig project.
Yes.
Yeah. First, let me clean up what you said about Mercs needing help. I want to do this for the super truckers before they probably go into the comments and go in on you. No, Mercs didn't need no help. They got help. That's what the freight market is for. You got the load border. They got plenty of help. They just want to cut us out. So I just want to protect you on that. I got Eugene back. Furthermore, which I know that you was touching on, but I'm just going to simplify. They running these trucks in more congested areas to no, you know what I'm saying? No, I'm telling them that's what you were saying. That they running these trucks in more congested areas to that's why I call it a guinea pig project. They've been testing it in the open areas where it's not a lot of traffic yet.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? The congestion is kind of loose. They want to run it in tighter congested areas this year so that they can prove and pass the test and move this forward faster than they planned at first, because the original plan was to have it fully driverless by 2030. Now they done bumped this up 6 years. So I just wanted to make sure that, that I put that in there. So yeah, it's a guinea pig project. And furthermore, like back to what you were saying about for them to sell the idea, my problem is it's the person that's willing to buy. And that's our government. Yeah. They're willing to buy this idea. If Gene and I had brought this idea to the government, or you, they would have ran us up out of that capital so fast. They're all investing in this. And what we have found out with PAM, Ryder, they have similar. They have some of the same investors. Vanguard Group, BlackRock, two of the top investors in both of those companies. PAM is a transportation company. Ryder, till they so-called acquired Cardinal, was just supposed to be logistics, equipment rental, leasing, and a little bit of brokerage here and there that they kind of start sneaking in. Yeah. So the point that I'm getting to is that you got these major hedge fund companies that are using our money that we put into the stock, and they invest in it in different business, which is nothing wrong with that. But what we have to be aware of now, since we're in post-pandemic and we're wondering why we're hurting so bad in the trucking industry, this is why. It's these same investors that we are putting money, that we are giving our money to for stock. They are investing heavily into logistics and trucking, transportation as they call it. And they're putting a hurting on us. And I mean, I just got a problem with that, and I think you should too.
Yeah, that's true. That's so true, because I think, and here's the thing, they're not really even hiding it. Everything is in our face. We just have, sometimes we're not really looking for, we're not catching on to exactly what's going on, because like you said once before, oftentimes when people when they make these mergers or they make these acquisitions, people not really paying attention. Okay, this person bought this company out, or they bought this company out. Like we were saying in some of the comments, we were saying when we found out that Warren Buffett owned 100% a Pilot, a lot of people said, okay, this might good for him, man. This might be a good thing. A lot of people was looking at it like that, but no, if you look at everything, connect all the dots, he has a partnership with Kodak, which the partnership was there prior to him taking on that 100%. But nonetheless, there's a partnership. This is not really a good news for a driver at all.
Right. Not an owner operator, not a business owner, not a small carrier owner, not unless you're gonna publicly trade your company, which a lot of us don't know how to do. But back to what you were saying, the information is in our face. But see, this is the thing, in this information era, in order to be able to unlock this stuff that's in your face to see it, you have to have the question or the thought in your head to put in a Google search bar. If you don't have the thought or the idea to put in your head to put in a Google search, you'll never see this information.
That's true.
That's the thing. If we look up, you think about it, if you look up the owner of Ryder, or let's just say PAM, you look up the owner of PAM, Joe Vitrio, however you pronounce his last name, he's going to pop up, but he's not the owner. He's a president. The owners are the shareholders behind them. Some of them do have privately owned company that's funded by private equity funding companies. But even in those cases, the private equity fund company really owns the company, even though they're just an investor. So you should be upset now that we in this year, tax time coming up. Some of us insurance renewals, heavy highway taxes, registration renewals. We don't have that kind of financial bag. All of that money is coming out of our pocket. And we back to square one, most of us. Back trying to build our money when these companies have all these investors who are investing in multiple businesses. Like the people who invest in JB Hunt, they have shares in other trucking companies too.
Right.
And we wonder why, in a time why everybody's going out of business, Swift is able to buy US Express. Hell, it's because some of the investors that probably had shares in US Express just probably transferred them over to Swift and just said, hey, let's put it on paper that Swift bought the company. I mean, it's I'm not against it. The art or the science. I'm just against the fact that we don't have access to this as well. We should have access to stuff like this here too, so that if we wanted to build a community and work together to start our own thing, we could do it and compete. That's supposed to be what America stands for. Go ahead.
Be able to do it and compete and not have to worry about being kicked out the sandbox. You know what I'm saying? Not have to, because like soon as, because you did watch that movie, Dumb Money.
Yes, sir.
On Netflix.
Yeah.
How they all created it. How this one guy, Kitty, I forgot what they actually called him, Kitty,
Roaring Kitty,
developed this community of people who was watching him, and he was posting his not a spreadsheet, but his balance sheet of his transactions that he was making, and everybody was following him. And as soon as they built a community of however many people that was going along, what did they do? They put a stop to it.
Well, they didn't exactly put a stop to it. Essentially, but they changed the rules.
They changed the rules, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They said you could play the game, but we didn't know you could play it this damn good. So we gotta change the rule, because you ain't supposed to be that good at playing this game that we are masters at. That's what it really was.
And that was the crazy part about it. and had a lot of people, losing money, which some of them end up losing those hedge funds, end up losing some money themselves,
Right.
But there's something, even if we decided to do something like that ourselves, they would eventually find a way, come up with a way to, like you said, to change the rules to where now we got to go back to the drawing board and do something different.
Well, that's true. That's why it's good that they have movies out there like that, so it kind of prepares you to cut them off, because this is still the land of the free. No matter what they do, they still have to live by that. This is the land of the free. You build a community strong enough, like say for instance,
Okay.
well, not for instance, this is factual. Hedge funds control the freight market. And what I mean by that, the rates that you see on DAT, load board, and truck stop and everything, all that is controlled by the hedge fund companies, which when you bring all the hedge fund companies together, you have Wall Street. Once you understand who all the players are and all the ins and outs, as much as they want to try, they still wouldn't be able to stop us if we built a community together. If we built a community together, if Wall Street or the hedge fund companies is controlling what the freight rate should be, imagine if we built a community together, one umbrella, one topic, one movement, lockstep. Imagine how much of the freight market we could control. We could bring a lot of them to their needs. We advise you to go watch that movie on Netflix, Dumb Money, to get an idea of how that works. It can be done. I believe that.
Right. And that's something we've spoke about several times, about creating a forum to where everybody was on the same page and understood. So where even if someone became a member of the forum and they were new to the industry, like what happened during the pandemic when you had people who were coming off of jobs where they were working in a warehouse, or they were entrepreneurs in other industries, but they came into trucking and didn't know anything, and decide if they got into that community, got involved into that forum, they would know, hey, this is the standard, this is where we at. You can't do nothing any different, regardless of the experience that you have. This is where we are, and this is what you need to be doing.
And anyone that's viewing this video, this podcast, that's why we want, matter of fact, that's why we need you guys to share, subscribe to this, and let's talk about it. Our doors and lines are open for anybody to come on the show, or you want to email us, give your opinion. Let's build something and work together. We can combat against this. I mean, this, like I always say, this career could be generational wealth for our kids, our grandkids, if it's done right. We look at these hedge fund companies, they work together to bail each other out just to make money off of us. So it could be done. I mean, heck, we saw that in the movie Dumb Money.
Yeah.
Watching that, it really motivated me. So we encourage you guys to go watch that. Continue to educate yourself. Have more questions that come up in your head, and when they come up in your head, put it in Google search.
Right.
Search for these answers. They're out there.
Right. They are.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be it for us today. We thank you guys for joining us and continuing your support. And we're going to be up out of here. Much love.
Yeah, have a good one.